and it was like this Japanese guy with hair halfway down his back, a stage full of percussion instruments, abnormal percussion as well, leaping in midair with a timpani stick in his mouth. And I said, who is this guy, man?
The original drummer of Santana, Michael Shrieve, has been, he's played with a lot of people through the years. He was that guy that met Carlos Santana at the Fillmore West. He was 20 years old when he went on stage with them at Woodstock, one of the youngest performers at Woodstock. And he was in a supergroup with Al Di Meola, guitarist, and Steve Winwood. We talk about that and his brand new album, Drums of Compassion, on Rock History Music. Michael Shrieve was born July 6, 1949 in San Francisco. He's an iconic drummer, best known for his groundbreaking work with the band Santana. And that career of his took off at a young age. But let's remember the amount of work you have to do to be noticed by Carlos Santana and to be on stage as one of the youngest performers at Woodstock. He was only 20. That was in 1969. This extraordinary performance at Woodstock, especially during the solo in Soul Sacrifice, is one of the most iconic moments in rock and roll history. Many call it the holy grail of drumming solos. So Shrieve was a big part of the early success of Santana, playing on their first album, simply titled Santana, and released just a few days after their performance at Woodstock in '69. And it featured the hit Evil Ways. He continued to be a big part of that band on subsequent albums, including Abraxas in 1970, which included the iconic track Black Magic Woman, originally recorded by Fleetwood Mac and written by their guitarist, Peter Green. And then their amazing version of Tito Puente's Hoy Como Va. Shreve's blend of rock, jazz, and Latin rhythms helped define the band's unique style. Shrieve stayed with Santana till the mid-1970s, playing on several more iconic albums, including Santana 3. And he stayed with them as they experimented with more jazz-influenced sounds. After leaving the band, Shrieve embarked on a very successful solo career and worked with a lot of different artists, including Stomo Yamashita's Go project. Yamashita was a pioneer in popularizing a fusion of traditional Japanese percussive music and Western progressive rock, specifically in the 60s and 70s. This band Go also featured Steve Winwood and Al Di Meola. Throughout his career, Shrieve has made major contributions to music, but always stretching the envelope. Fusion meets rock meets world music, and he's been instrumental in popularizing African drum sounds for quite a few years. His new album is called Drums of Compassion. It's a very primal drumming masterpiece, featuring the father of African drumming, Michael Olantuji, who died quite a few years ago, but his old recordings are featured on the album. Trey Gunn is also on there, as well as Airto Moreira. When it comes to drumming, you can easily say Michael Shrieve has his own lane. Steve Winwood, the band Go, Al Di Meola, what was that experience like for you?
Well, I mean, okay, I have to go back a little bit further because I had been looking for Stomo Yamashita for a year. Stomo Yamashita was a classical percussionist, and being in Santana and having the success of Soul Sacrifice, I was required to play a drum solo every night. So, I go through all the jazz guys. I study drum solos, and I started listening to percussion ensembles. I was in a record store in Berkeley, California, one day, and this music was playing. It was percussion music, and that was the kind of the days when they used to place the album up, what they're playing in the store, so you could see what they're playing. It was cool. And this was like a gatefold, and it was like this Japanese guy with hair halfway down his back, a stage full of percussion instruments, abnormal percussion as well, leaping in midair with a timpani stick in his mouth. And I said, who is this guy, man? And so I bought everything he did, and I learned about him, and I traced him for a year. And we finally met on the last day of a tour in Rome, and he was staying in the same hotel. And I went to his hotel room, and he's about 5 feet tall, and his stature is like he's 8 feet tall, And I introduced myself, and we talked. Within 45 minutes, we were both on the floor laughing and doing. It was like another Soul Brother thing. So I said, I wanted to do this avant-garde percussion thing that you're doing. He said, oh, I want you to come with me and do this pop band I'm putting together with Steve Winwood and Klaus Schultz, who I didn't know. So that's how Go came about. And Al Di Meola, I mean, that was a little bit of a fluke, but um, I knew Al from, when Lenny bringing him over to my house, Lenny White bringing him to my house in San Francisco as a 19-year-old when Chick Corea took him out of Berkeley School of Music. So I've been knowing Al for a while and still do. Um, that was an incredible experience, a really, life-changing group of people for me. I learned a lot.
Cut four is that's a great tune.
Oh yeah,
He-
just Ayrto doing what he does. Yeah, I know. I mean, he's the shaman. I mean, it's the same with Zakir. The idea was to add stuff to him, to both those guys, and then in the end, I just said, let them be. Like let me present them,
yeah.
and I hope it felt respectful to me, but the other way would have been cool too. But yeah, I mean, these are masters. These are masters that I'm blessed to have, like in a collaboration on a record with mine, and I'm really grateful. I mean, they are just, and they're egoless, John. I mean, they could play anything. You know what I mean? I know I've given this record in earlier stages to people with these. They're aware of the names on it, Jack DeJohnette, and they're expecting a whole nother ball game,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm like, but these musicians really expect and really totally get what I'm doing.
I mean, through the years, I've watched interviews with him, and there's a part of him that's really unassuming, because when he's on stage and talking to people, and there's the side of him, he seems like he has to go a little wink in his eye. He's a funny guy. Zakir.
Zakir Hussein, oh yeah, he's a magical man, right? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, he's got a great sense of humor. He's got an unbelievable sense of humility. He's really gracious to everybody, other musicians. I mean, he's so steeped in his own confidence and knowledge of self-awareness that he's got enough to just give away in plentiful.
Every year of the history of the world, there's always some new music that sucks. That's going to happen by. But when I hear that as a blanket statement, I'm going, you're not searching enough, man.
Yeah, I think that in any genre people are doing stuff, but people get stuck in their own, they get stuck in their own soundtrack to their life.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, I'll admit now that we look at, like, I have a video podcast called Stick People um, on YouTube with Lenny White, Mike Clark, David Garibaldi, and Gregorico. And we interview the greatest drummers and jazz musicians in the world. Our new one is Ron Carter coming out, a bass player who's played on so many records that spins your head. So, everybody's got their own, even in this group, we're really good friends, but everybody's got their own tastes, and I realize that my taste and the stuff that I do is pretty left of center, even for those guys. So, but it doesn't matter. The thing is, it just doesn't matter. I think people recognize the intention that you do behind the stuff uh, that you do, and so I don't know. People that are unrecognized, they're recognized somewhere.
Thanks for the folks who have made donations to the channel because income on YouTube is crazy these days. A lot of YouTubers, a lot of creators are actually quitting because the income is so up and down. And we're suffering from that too. If you want to make a donation and help keep our channel healthy, there's a PayPal link at the very top of the description. You can also join Patreon, where you'll get early access to our videos. And there's a swag store. We've teamed up with Teespring, where you can buy t-shirts, caps, and jackets, and a lot more with our logos on them. Subscribe to our channel, share our videos, comment on them, and like them. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music. More from Michael Shrieve the next few days. Take care.